continuity. Ronald Reagan was the first Republican who really strongly ran against government. I mean, denouncing government itself. Okay, he said one of the most frightening, scary phrases that he had ever heard was, "I'm here from the government, and I'm here to help you." Okay, and that was a very famous phrase that he introduced. And the Republican Party has run against government. They talk about small government, cutting taxes. Actually, what they wanted to do was seemingly eliminate government. And that's where you get the argument that Trump is actually kind of the extreme end of this trend, which has been going on ever since Ronald Reagan. And there's a lot of evidence, I think, to support that argument. Because Donald Trump admitted, I mean, we have not seen his tax returns, and he's the first person in many decades to refuse to show his taxes. But he admitted in the debate that he hasn't paid taxes. Okay. And of course, that's exactly, when you look at government, what does government do? It collects taxes and it disperses the money. It sets policies and sets budgets and tries to achieve things that the market cannot achieve. Okay, which is where you get this argument that's been ongoing for many years now among Republicans, and Donald Trump again is the culmination of this. The argument is that you need a businessman to run the government because government should be run like a business. Well, the interesting thing was in the debate more than last night, 2 nights ago, in the debate, one of the strongest positive reactions to Hillary Clinton was when she said that I am glad that the federal government is no longer using private prisons. And I think all private prisons should be abolished. And we shouldn't have the profit motive pushing behind putting people in jail. Okay, and she got very, very positive support for that. And this is something, if you go way, way back to Adam Smith, you might remember political economy, what I used to teach in Hong Kong. Yeah. There's a strong belief in economics that incentives work. But if you have an incentive to jail somebody because you're being paid on the number of people you have in your jail, then you're going to go around trying to jail people who probably shouldn't be jailed. Okay? I mean, that's just logical. That's business. And anybody recognizes this. And that is a very interesting argument that says, wait a minute, government should do more than just simply provide for defense. Government needs to take care of prisons and take care of education. There's so many other areas. Okay, so the role of government is this key factor, I think, in which Donald Trump is not abnormal to the Republican emphasis. He's actually normal. He's actually kind of the extreme end of it. He's the logical continuation of it. This billionaire businessman who's never been in government, knows nothing about government, and most of the followers support him because he's a businessman and they think a businessman will solve the problems of government. But clearly there are a lot of people in the United States who are going, hold on a minute. That doesn't seem to work because we've privatized, 18 states have privatized prisons by and large. Mm-hmm. And those are some of the most unjust states that have seen repeated riots and murders, basically murders, by police of African Americans and other minority groups, persons who are unarmed, okay, and not posing any threat. So this is something I think this key argument is Donald Trump out of the norm, or is he actually part of the trend? And I lean towards saying, well, in a real fundamental way, he's part of the trend. Yeah. Well, if you look at, and I've looked through the Pew, PEW, Pew Center, okay, does huge surveys of American voters. thousands of cases, okay, which allows them to break down, women of all ages, women of all different ages, and minority groups. Men the same way, so it's really, you can get an idea of all of the different kinds of groups. How do they feel about Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton? What's interesting is that the only group that has a majority for Donald Trump is white men who do not have a college education. Okay? Every other group, including white women who do not have a college education, show either a slight majority or large majorities supporting Hillary Clinton. But none of them show this gigantic majority, the size of this group that supports Trump. In other words, Trump has what seems to look like a lot of support, but it's in this one group, and it's enormous. It's like African Americans. 95% of African Americans support Hillary Clinton. Well, it's something like 79% of these white males without a college education support Donald Trump. Okay. What's also really interesting is that this same group has had a rising mortality rate. Instead of living longer, they're actually living shorter lives. They're actually dying younger, okay, which is, as you know, is unusual. Most people are living longer nowadays, all right? So what's wrong with this group? And why is what Trump's saying so attractive to them? Well, just think about it. The world economy is increasingly requiring education. Okay, if you don't get educated, the jobs that you can get are not well paid. Increasingly, it's hard to get them. Okay, you end up without any real career prospects, and you're stuck. Okay, the factory jobs that used to be good, well-paying, and had a chance for you to move up, they're not there anymore. They're increasingly, well, it's robots doing the work. It's not China. It's robots. Okay. In fact, if you look at the actual manufacturing output, the United States is making more stuff today than ever. In actual output terms, it's producing more than ever. It's selling more than ever. But it's using fewer and fewer people to make it. I mean, if you look at automobiles, most automobile plants are so highly automated that most of the workers are involved basically maintaining the software and the robots. They're not actually making the cars. Okay, the robots are making the cars. They're maintaining the robots to do this, and that takes real high level of training. You can't take somebody with only a high school education and put them doing this kind of